Hey guys, Brent here. This is the second part of the Fuji X-E2 review, and in this review I'm going to run through images we took while we were traveling and some landscape images. So the following one, the next episode, is going to be all about portraits. So let's look at this great little camera that I took along when we went to New Zealand with Jay, Verena and Johnny to film a landscape course, or a couple of landscape courses. So this is an image I took of Jay and Johnny. There's a lighthouse in the background, just a beautiful shot, and I'm photographing this with the 23mm lens, I believe. Yep, 23 f1.4 lens, just a beautiful lens. On the way to New Zealand, some great shots we took in the train. Johnny over here, just great snapshots coming into Queenstown out of the airplane window. Great little camera just for everyday snapshots, and I love the shallow depth of field that this camera gets, so you can see how we focused way down there on the people in the airplane and everything else is out of focus. Love this lens. This is the 23 1.4 lens. Frederick Van Johnson, Johnny and me in Queenstown, and great for snapshots like this. Really good. I think we photographed this at f4 so that I could get everyone in focus, and we didn't have too shallow a depth of field. ISO 800, which is it's really good at low light photography, this camera. Jay, I'm focused on the back of his camera as he's photographing a landscape photo. Now this is what I really love about this camera, is the storytelling you can get out of your photography. So here we are in the Catlins. We're about to go to this cave. I think they're the Catlin caves or something like that, these caves right on the beach, and we got the local person telling us about where to go, and I was telling a story just with my images. So you can see the shallow depth of field really brings your eye into the area where she's pointing on this map. Sorry, they're actually the cathedral caves in the Catlins area, and there we go. We're taking down notes, and I'm trying to tell the story of what actually happened over here, how we actually got to photograph these incredible caves using local knowledge. Kind of behind the scenes of us filming Jay as he was teaching a landscape photography course. Just really, again, the shallow depth of field. Johnny's focused on my camera and me a little bit, and then Jay in the background nicely blurred. So it really does focus your eye on the point of interest in the image. Behind the scenes, back of a camera photograph, which is great, because what I love about this camera too is you can actually sync up with your phone. So it's got a wireless connection that you can sync up with your phone, download the images onto your phone, then you can post it straight onto Facebook. So this is one of the images we posted onto Facebook while we were traveling, and I didn't have to use any cables or anything like that to download the images out of the Fujifilm X-E2 camera. Another behind the scenes shot, Jay and Johnny, just beautiful. Here, this really shows the shallow depth of field of this lens and this camera. Just beautiful. Obviously we love our coffee, and we're drinking quite a lot of it in New Zealand, and here is I just kind of went behind where they're making us coffee and captured a couple of the images over here. Let's have a closer look at this image. So I'll go right in, we'll hit view and show the actual image. Where is it? View actual image, and we can see, if I actually view this actual image, I'll drag it down, you can see the very shallow depth of field of this lens. You can see the top of this coffee cup is in focus, and the rest is out of focus. I just love that about it. There we go. Some more behind the scenes photos from New Zealand. We were photographing this mushroom, and here you can see, I probably wouldn't have taken this photo if I didn't have this little camera with me, and it was this convenient, because we got these big digital SLR cameras and they're a little bit bulky, and often we don't photograph what's happening behind the scenes, and then we kind of lose all this behind the scenes footage. So this is great. Verena photographing that mushroom, this mushroom, getting really low down with her macro lens. Some more mushroom shots. You can see I've got a beautiful behind the camera, or the back of the camera photograph as Verena is zooming in to focus on this mushroom. And here's a photograph that either Johnny or Verena took of me with my reflector reflecting the back of this mushroom. As you can see, I'm actually out of focus, so this is the one downfall of this camera, is the focusing. The autofocus isn't the best. Sometimes it gets it wrong. And if we can actually zoom in a little bit on this. Let's see if I can zoom in. Hold on. View, show the actual image, and you'll probably see that I'm out of focus. As you can see, I'm out of focus then, and it's actually focused somewhere else. I don't know quite where it's focused, but that's the downfall of this camera. So more behind the scenes footage, Jay and Verena photographing that same mushroom. And let's look at a few of the landscape photos too. So really, if we just snapshot photos, these are all JPEGs straight off the camera. Here's one where I'm photographing a mushroom, and here's where the camera gets it wrong again. The autofocus wasn't so hot. It's actually photographed on the, well, it's actually focused on the moss in the background, and the mushrooms out of focus. Some more snapshots that I took, Milford Sound in New Zealand. Here's one where I went to a bridge and I photographed this water coming down into this pool, and I went as low as I thought I could go. I went to 1/8 of a second over here to see how slow a shutter speed I could do while I was hand holding this camera, and it's come out pretty good actually. And that's also with the 23mm f1.4 lens, which is just obviously a beautiful lens. Some more landscape photos. This is back in Australia. Love this lens for the shallow depth of field landscape photos. Now often when I'm photographing landscape photography, I'm using a really small aperture, f16 or even f22 to get a maximum depth of field. But with this lens, I thought I'd try something different, and I went very shallow depth of field like I shoot my portraits, and I wanted to focus on one single thing in the image and have everything else out of focus. And this is something new to me, because I don't do this very often, the shallow depth of field landscape photography, but I thought this was really cool. Let's zoom in right into this image and have a look at the shallow depth of field. So I've got this little stalk in focus and everything else is out of focus. Just awesome. Another landscape image from New Zealand. I also went as slow as I could. This is 1.4 seconds without a tripod. I've just put the camera down on the railing next to this waterfall, and I managed to capture a beautiful long exposure image where I get that milky water. Just awesome. Another shallow depth of field landscape photo, and this is with the 23mm lens again. I've got a couple more over here, a few more snapshots from New Zealand, and here is where I've gone with the 14mm lens. So I've got the 14 f2.8 lens over there, and another great shallow depth of field landscape photo at sunrise. I'm just getting these little flowers in the grass. This is back in Australia. Let's go in again, have a look at that, and just see how cool the shallow depth of field is. So these little flowers are in focus and the grass behind is out of focus, and I'm really close to these the actual point of interest in this photograph. Another one that I took with a 14mm f2.8 lens. This is the Byron Bay lighthouse at sunrise, and you can see this lens, I had to go with a 14mm lens to actually get the sun rising behind the cloud and the lighthouse in focus. I just couldn't do it with a 23mm lens. And you might have seen this from one of my YouTube videos, how to photograph bees and get stung. and I photographed this with the 23mm lens again. You obviously got to get really close to these bees to capture these images. And here's an interesting one. I went with my wife Stacy to the TAFE Awards, which is like a technical college in Australia, and she won something. But I took this photo while we were sitting down and then loaded it up to my phone and then posted it on Facebook so that my family and her friends could see what was going on really quickly. And that's a great feature of this camera, is you can actually use the Wi-Fi function to copy the image to your phone, then just use Snapseed or something similar like that just to do a quick little edit or recrop on the image and then post it onto Facebook or Google Plus or wherever you want to. And more travel photos. This is Easter that I did with my family. Great little camera to use when you're running around chasing kids, that type of thing. Also getting the Easter egg in focus and all the other Easter eggs out of focus, that shallow depth of field that I've been talking about. Snapshots of the kids, my two kids and their cousin Annabelle in the middle. Dinner, obviously some people put a lot of effort into dinner, so you can get those really cool shallow depth of field images of dinner. And wine, if you like. This is a wine in Australia that I really like. And getting down low, taking pictures of little dogs and that type of thing. My kid's cousin too, is running around. And we'll end it off with some beautiful, yummy, sweet images. This is my sister-in-law. She loves to cook, and she's created these great souffles and yummy treats. So that's it. That's the review of the Fuji X-E2 for travel and landscape photography and events. It's just a great camera to take along. I highly recommend it, especially with a 23mm f1.4 lens. Guys, please leave comments below if you enjoyed this review or if you have any other questions. This is Brent. Have a great day.